The village of Oakhaven was a quiet place, hidden away from the greed of the kingdom. Here, a young blacksmith's apprentice named Elian knew only two things: the heat of the forge and his absolute love for Lyra. Lyra was the village healer's daughter, with a smile that could outshine the morning sun and eyes as gentle as the spring rain. One evening, sitting by the edge of the golden wheat fields, Elian handed Lyra a small ring he had hammered out of scrap iron. Sitting at their feet was a small, scruffy wild piglet named Morgan, which they had rescued from a hunter's trap a few weeks prior.
"It isn't gold," Elian whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "But one day, I will give you the world, Lyra." Lyra slipped the iron ring onto her finger, resting her head on his shoulder. "I don't want the world, Elian. I only want you."
But the world had other plans. That very night, the sky turned the color of blood. King Malachor, a tyrant known for his endless cruelty, ordered his royal vanguard to raid the border villages. The deafening sound of galloping horses and screaming villagers woke Elian. He grabbed his hammer, rushing into the flames, but he was just a boy. A knight's armored gauntlet struck his face, sending him crashing into the mud. Through the smoke and his own blood, Elian watched in sheer horror as the king's men dragged Lyra away, taking her as a prize for their cruel monarch. The village burned, and Elian's heart burned with it. The boy who loved Lyra died in the ashes of Oakhaven. In his place, a man driven by pure vengeance was born. For 5 agonizing years, Elian traveled the harshest edges of the realm. He traded his blacksmith's hammer for a heavy mercenary's broadsword. He trained until his hands bled, until his muscles tore, and until his heart grew as cold as the steel he wielded. He was not entirely alone. Morgan, the rescued piglet, had grown into a monstrously large, terrifying wild boar with razor-sharp tusks, fiercely protective of his master. Along his bloody travels, Elian also freed a small, incredibly intelligent macaque monkey named Peter from a cruel traveling circus. Peter, wearing a small leather vest Elian made for him, became the perfect scout and thief. The 3 of them became a ghost story among the king's soldiers, a lone, scarred warrior and his beasts, hunting down the royal vanguard one by one, searching for any whisper of the girl from Oakhaven. Elian's relentless hunt finally led him to the capital, the City of Iron. The city was preparing for a grand royal procession. Elian stood hidden in the cheering crowd, wearing a dark hooded cloak. Morgan waited in the shadowed alleys, while Peter sat on a high rooftop, signaling to Elian. Then, the royal carriage passed. Elian's breath stopped. There she was, Lyra. But she was not the frightened village girl he remembered. She was draped in exorbitant, heavy gold silk, her neck glittering with diamonds, and on her head sat the obsidian crown of the queen. Beside her sat King Malachor, looking at her with twisted possession. Elian expected to see sorrow in her eyes, but as she scanned the crowd, her gaze was icy, unfeeling, and regal. Elian's chest tightened, a desperate hope telling him she was just playing a part. He had to know. He had to save her. That midnight, using Peter to slip through the narrow grates and unlock the heavy iron doors from the inside, Elian infiltrated the royal gardens. He found Lyra walking alone among the white roses, moonlight reflecting off her jewels. Elian stepped out of the shadows, pulling down his hood. Lyra, he choked out, his voice trembling with 5 years of held-back tears. Lyra spun around. For a split second, a flash of something unrecognizable crossed her face, but it was instantly replaced by a mask of cruel arrogance. "Guard your tongue, peasant," she hissed, her voice dripping with venom. "You address the queen of this realm." Ilan stepped forward, desperately reaching out. "It's me, Ilan. I've come to take you home. I'm strong enough now. We can leave this nightmare." Lyra looked at his scarred face, his worn leather armor, and then let out a cold, mocking laugh that cut deeper than any sword. "Home? To a pile of ash and mud? Look at me, Ilan. I wear the wealth of nations. I dine on silver and command armies. Why would I ever trade this crown for a dirt-stained blacksmith?" Elian froze, his heart shattering into a million jagged pieces. You don't mean that. You're wearing my iron ring," he said, looking at her hand. Her hands were bare, covered only in gold rings. "I threw that piece of scrap away the day I arrived here," she sneered. "Guards, there is an intruder in the gardens." The heavy footsteps of soldiers echoed in the distance. Elian looked at the woman he loved, realizing she was truly gone. Devastated, broken, and hollow, he scaled the garden wall and vanished into the night, leaving his soul behind. For weeks, Elian descended into the darkest depths of despair. He drank heavily in the slums of the city, wanting to forget the world, to forget her. One rainy night, a group of the king's soldiers entered the tavern, brutally kicking an old man who couldn't pay the royal tax. Morgan, the giant boar, let out an angry snort from the corner, while Peter the monkey threw a wooden tankard at a soldier's head. Elian watched as the soldiers drew their swords on the innocent commoners. Suddenly, the faces of the terrified people blurred with the memories of his burning village. He had spent 5 years training to save one girl, only to find she didn't want to be saved. But what about the others? What about the thousands groaning beneath King Malakor's tyrannical boot? Elian stood up, kicking his chair back. His broadsword sang as it left its scabbard. In mere moments, the soldiers lay unconscious on the floor. Elian looked at his reflection in a puddle of spilled wine. Lyra may have chosen the tyrant, but Elian would choose the people. He would not leave this city until the king's head rolled. The infiltration was not a rescue mission. It was an assassination. Elian struck during a heavy thunderstorm. Morgan, the giant boar, charged like a battering ram, completely shattering the heavy wooden door of the palace's side armory, crushing the guards. Chaos erupted. While the royal army rushed to contain the monstrous beast, Peter the monkey swung through the rafters, dropping heavy iron chandeliers and stealing the keys to the inner keep. Elian walked through the chaos like an angel of death. He didn't run, he marched. Every soldier that stepped in his path was cut down with ruthless, terrifying precision. He was no longer a heartbroken lover. He was the wrath of the kingdom incarnate. He kicked open the massive double doors of the throne room. King Malakor stood from his throne, drawing his ornate, jewel-encrusted sword. "You have fought well, peasant, but you die here." The duel was explosive. Malakor was a skilled swordsman, but he fought with arrogance. Elian fought with 5 years of rage, pain, and loss. Their swords clashed, sending sparks flying across the marble floor. Elian parried a deadly thrust, spun, and smashed the heavy pommel of his sword into Malakor's face. The king stumbled, his sword clattering to the floor. Elian kicked the tyrant to his knees and raised his broadsword high, ready to deliver the final killing blow. "Die for Oakhaven!" Elian roared, swinging the blade down. Suddenly, a blur of golden silk threw itself between Elian and the king. A sickening, horrific sound of steel piercing flesh echoed through the silent throne room. Elian's eyes widened in absolute, paralyzing horror. It was Lyra. She had thrown herself in front of Malachor. Elian's heavy broadsword had driven straight through her chest. In the shock of the moment, King Malachor scrambled to his feet, a cowardly rat fleeing the sinking ship, and escaped through a hidden passage behind the throne, leaving his queen to bleed. Elian dropped his sword, falling to his knees and catching Lyra as she collapsed. Blood ruined her golden dress. "No, no, no, no! Why?" Elian screamed, his hands desperately pressing against her fatal wound, trying to stop the bleeding. "Why did you protect him, Lyra? After everything he did?" Lyra looked up at him, her cruel, arrogant mask finally slipping away, replaced by the gentle, loving eyes of the village girl he had never stopped loving. She coughed, blood staining her lips. "Because he had the orders drawn up," she whispered, her breathing shallow. "If he died, his generals were ordered to march on the borderlands, to slaughter the survivors of Oakhaven, to burn everything." Ilian's heart stopped. He stared at her, the horrific truth dawning on him. With trembling, bloody fingers, Lyra reached into the deep neckline of her dress, pulling out a chain hidden close to her heart. Dangling from the chain was a rusted, scrap iron ring. "I had to make you hate me, Elian," she cried softly, tears streaming down her pale face. "If you loved me, you would have fought him, and you would have died. I married the monster to keep you safe. I traded my soul for your lives." Elian broke. A raw, guttural scream of absolute agony tore from his throat. He pulled her against his chest, rocking her as he sobbed uncontrollably. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Lyra. Please, don't leave me. We can go home. We can go home now." Lyra reached up, her bloodied hand gently touching his scarred cheek one last time. "You are my home, Elian," she whispered. Her hand fell limp. The Queen of Thorns was dead. Elian did not chase the king. He did not claim the throne. He carried Lyra's body out of the palace, walking through the silent, terrified ranks of the royal army, who parted ways for the grieving warrior. He buried her on a quiet hill overlooking the ruins of Oakhaven, planting white roses over her grave. Years later, legend spoke of a wandering, nameless swordsman who roamed the edges of the world, a man with a heart of stone and eyes filled with endless regret. He spoke to no one, fighting only to protect the weak, and he was never alone. A massive, aging wild boar walked faithfully by his side, and a small monkey sat upon his shoulder. They were three ghosts, wandering a broken world, carrying the weight of a crown of regret, waiting for the day they could finally go home.